All right, so I hope you're enjoying Shock Week. Today's coffee is Rottweiler. We're drinking Rottweiler today. Remember, 10% discount at the link down below to Puppy Paws. The discount is 2 labs. So go get your coffee cup and ready for this session, which is going to cover E110.3E, Electrical Safety Program Principles, F, Controls, and G, Procedures. All three of those are covered in this video series session with myself and Derek Vigstol. This guy's awesome. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you're enjoying Shock Week. Enjoy this session. Here with Derek Vigstol. Electrical Safety Program Principles. This one here. So the Electrical Safety Program has to identify the principles upon which it's based.
Yep.
I mean...
So there's in the annex...
Annex E. Annex E.
Did they moved? Yeah, the kids moved
Annex E.
So there's a list of principles, things like do de-energized work, those kind of pieces.
So E1 is typical electrical safety program principles. There are 10. Inspecting and evaluating the electrical equipment. We already talked about that.
Right.
Maintaining the electrical equipment's insulation and enclosure integrity. That's maintenance. Planning every job and document first-time procedures. All right, so you got a plan and all that good stuff. De-energize if possible. They send you back to 120.6 lockout tagout stuff.
Right.
Anticipate unexpected events. Well, that's the risk assessment, right? Identifying the electrical hazards. That's easy to reduce associated risk. Protecting employees from electric shock. So that's your protection. So that could be anything. That could be anything of reducing the blast, wearing PPE, give them the tools to work outside the arc flash boundary. There's a lot of things.
Designing my system so that there's tools in place to make sure that they, or what, energy reducing maintenance switches, zone selective interlocking,
all those technologies,
active arc flash mitigation.
Amen, brother. And come on, it's like Anna Marie. Yes, and then using the right tool for the job. Hammers do everything. A hammer can be a screwdriver. It can be a Phillips or regular. That's what I like about a hammer.
Well, so technically every tool's a hammer. Do you know that?
I didn't know that. You're right. You just which way you want to use it. Yeah. So you got to use the right tools for the job. Assessing people's abilities.
So what are we reading here? We're reading a list of things that is that culture piece that we talked about.
You're right.
So you're what you have to document in your ESP is what do you want that culture to be around? What is your guiding principles, right? Your morals, so to speak, when it comes to electrical safety. And you identify those things.
Do you think these are almost like in an electrical safety program, it could be paragraphs, it could be descriptions, it could be lists like this?
Could be. Typically, so when I build an ESP program, the written part of it anyways, I always complete at least one paragraph that says really the crux of this program is based on we're never going to do energized work that isn't justified. And we're going to train our people to be able to identify the hazards that they're exposed to and how to avoid them. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy to go in there and tell them, hey, this is dangerous from a shock standpoint and arc flash standpoint.
Yep.
But if you don't come in and know what to do about it, then you're in a world hurt.
I got it. Yes. So Annex E gives you so E1 is your typical electrical safety program principles. E2 is your typical electrical safety program controls. We just saw the previous one about controls. And then E3 is typical electrical safety program procedures.
Right. So now I'm going to actually write a procedure. So you say one of my principles is I'm going to plan all the work that I do before I go out and do it.
Yeah. Now you may develop those. So procedures. Are we talking procedures for, say, replacing a circuit breaker, replacing a fuse? Or are you talking more higher level procedures?
It could be both, depending on
Yeah.
what it is. Like
Yeah.
I could have documented lockout procedures, right? And those could be a
Right.
part of my
Yeah.
electrical safety program. If I have this piece of equipment over here off camera that I know I have to isolate every month to do something for maintenance,
Yeah.
I might write a SOP or standing operating procedure on here's how I isolate that one piece of equipment. And
Yeah.
and that could be a procedure in my ESP.
I like
Or
it.
it could be I want to plan all the work I do. Here's what my job safety plan looks like. Here's my procedure for filling it out.
Yeah.
Pieces like that. So
Okay.
I think there's some intentional vagueness in
Yeah.
the way they word
Yeah. No,
this.
yeah, you're right.
Again, back to the employer has to do this.
Yeah. And you may add procedures
Right.
as maybe you get new equipment or you run across things that you didn't anticipate. You say, "Oh, we have no procedure for this. Let's write it up."
Right.
All right. We were at electrical safety program principles. That way, and
We did principles, controls, and procedures there. So
well, yeah. So you have E is principles, F is controls, and G is procedure. So that was the 1, 2, and 3 in Annex 3. So you had your principles, then you have your controls, and you have your procedures. So okay. And your procedures could be extensive. Your principles could be very simple
right.
and straightforward.
Typically that's like an introduction paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get into controls. So so 110.3F is your electrical safety program controls, and the electrical safety program shall identify the controls by which it's measured and monitored. So by which the program is measured and monitored. So then you go back to F, Annex E, and that gives you some examples of what those controls are. Let's go back and take a quick look of the controls. And these are your employee develops programs and procedures, training. Then you have your training. You have that your employees are trained and qualified for working when you have presence of electrical energy. You have procedures to use to identify the electrical hazards. Okay. Every electrical conductor or circuit part is considered energized until proven otherwise. So you have procedures to establish electrically safe work condition. De-energize the electrical conductor. So these are all of your controls that are in place to minimize risk.
And so there is a little bit of kind of overlap on some of the principles and controls, right? Like so
Yeah.
So think of it this way, or at least this is the way it helped me kind of think of it over the years, is you have the why you want the electrical safety program to be.
Yeah.
You have the how you're going to get it there and the procedures.
Yep.
And then you have the how do we make sure it's successful in the controls. So principles are the why,
Yep.
procedures are the how, the controls are the making sure it's working.
The checks and balances.
Yes. And you get all those together, you get that nice little ecosystem.
Yeah.
Combine that with the outside documents, and then you have really got
Ooh,
some stuff.
doggy. I like it.
Then you got stuff that doesn't let me sleep at night because I'm so happy about it and giddy. I just
I just can't go. Oh, purpose. So the safety program. So 110.3, I gotta get the letters right. 110.3G is your electrical safety program procedures. And then if we go back there again, the procedures are your purpose of the task, the qualifications and number of employees to be involved, the limits of approach, your safe work practices to be used, the PPE, donning your PPE,
right. Inspecting your PPE,
inspecting,
caring
yes,
for your PPE.
That's right. And there's yours. I love it. Single line diagrams are in there. Any precautionary techniques, sketches, and photos of unique features and reference data.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm getting it. So your 110.3 safety program, general inspection, conditional maintenance, awareness, self-discipline. You have your principles, controls, and procedures.
Yes.
And that takes you up through H. There's a
lot in H. But I got a good way to deal with each.
Okay, let's